Well, hello brothers and sisters. Haven't done one of these videos in a while, but I thought I would just give you an encouragement as it here is Friday, September 4th, Labor Day weekend. Not sure what you're up to, but I just grilled some steaks. Having a low-key night, hanging out with the fam, but thought I'd take a little walk at Terrain Lake like I usually like to do. Anyway, want to let you guys know what I've been encouraged by over these last 4 months. Hopefully it'll encourage you. Then also just share with you just how I'm thinking about the next chapter and next season of our life together as a church. And then a way you could probably pray for me and my family. First of all, I want to say that these last 4 months have got to be one of the most memorable times in my adult life. This year has been one of the hardest years of my adult life, as well as, I think, becoming one of the best. I think most of us would never have predicted 2020 to be what it has become, so far at least. But we do know from Scripture, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. And so, brothers and sisters, seasons come and go. Seasons of suffering, seasons of darkness, seasons of prosperity, seasons of want, seasons of unfulfilled desires, and seasons of fulfilled desires. So with all that said, I just want to say, number one, to encourage you guys, I have done up to this point about 80 to 85 membership interviews. I've done all that in the last 4.5 to 5 weeks. So you do your math on how many that is per week. But if I could encourage you, one thing that has come up in your testimonies is in your testimonies, many of you said that you lacked discipleship for long periods of your life. And some of you were very specific in what that meant and how the Lord caused you to mature and grow. And it's typically been a Sunday school teacher or someone who took an interest in you. I think many of your testimonies of how you came to faith were a mom or dad or even a grandmother that was faithfully bringing you to church and willing to have spiritual conversations with you. And so, with all that said, I want this to be an encouragement to parents. Don't underestimate the times you're praying with your kids at night or when you're having those spiritual conversations about church. And also, don't underestimate the power of just being faithful in your own witness. Your children are watching you, including my own, and that should cause us to always be thinking about how we are living in light of our confession. I think with that said, I just want to encourage you that one of the things that I have seen through the core team meetings is how teachable you are. Now, granted, the mask does cover up your facial expressions to some degree, so I can't tell if you're mad or confused, but through your questions, many of you have emailed, text, or asked me in person, and I think the sense I get is that the Lord has entrusted to me a teachable congregation. And brothers and sisters, that is a gift unlike any else. It is a wonderful thing to have a teachable congregation. I also want to encourage you that you've been patient. Brothers and sisters, today marks approximately 4 months since we first started gathering together in house fellowships. 4 months. We've had 3 different chapters. Chapter 1 was, as you recall, the house fellowships in May. And that was a unique time for our beginning of our church. And we got to know each other. We got to see each other. Some of you had seen each other for years, but didn't really know who you are. And so remember, we did all that through May into the first week of June. And then we had that hot Sunday morning, I think it was. Yeah, I guess it was Sunday morning. Backyard Bible study fellowship, kumbaya. And I mentioned to you guys that we had finished phase 1 or chapter 1. But then we entered into phase 2 about 3 weeks later after I got back from vacation. came back, and then the core teams eventually began in the second week of July. And brothers and sisters, we met for 8 weeks. 8 times we met for approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes apiece. We met in my living room, 4 different meetings in one day. We met at Bell Park in Greenwood 4 different times. And then for 3 weeks, we met at River Valley Community Church. Brothers and sisters, don't forget these special moments in our church's life. They have been unique for all of us as we have learned how to trust the Lord literally 1 week at a time. And I think we need to all take time to journal, blog, if you will. Maybe not on Facebook, but maybe in your own journal at home or something. The things you've been learning, the things that you've been growing in, the people you've met, the new friendships you've made, the new things you've learned. Don't forget those things, because brothers and sisters, there is going to come a day where this is going to seem like a long time ago. But don't forget God's faithfulness. Don't forget these wonderful, humble beginnings. Also, just to let you guys know how I'm thinking about the future, here we are. We are approaching almost a week from today, a week from Sunday actually. We are going to be gathering in our building for the first time, and we are going to sing together. We're going to give praises together. We are going to pray together. And then finally, I'm going to give you an idea of what to expect in next week's core team meeting. So, with all that said, or with the covenanting service. So, with all that said, here's how I want you to be thinking and reflecting on all that's happened. Number 1, brothers and sisters, give thanks to God today. Look back over the last 4 months. Remember the first 4 months of this year. Remember all that happened from January to April. And as painful as it is for some of us, don't forget it. Because in those painful moments, in these times of lowness and darkness and confusion, God is going to remind us that He's been guiding us the whole time. He leads us through the valley of the shadow of death, and He leads us beside still waters. He's the same good shepherd. So think about it, reflect on it, talk about it with your family, give thanks to God. Secondly, spend some time even this week listening to all 8 core team meetings again. I know that would be a lot. Maybe even try to make it a goal to listen to 4 out of the 8. That was a lot of information to take in. Go back and see if you understand something better after listening to all 8 than the first time around. I think that would encourage you, and I think it would even shed light on why we do what we do. Lastly, pray for me and my family. We are super encouraged. John and Sheila, my in-laws, have moved here. Our kids are in school. Noah's playing football, at least so far. And we're heading into the fall season, which means cooler weather, football season, sort of, but a new church. A new church is about to be born. A church that we hope will be a pillar and buttress of the truth. A church that we hope will shed light into dark places. We'll see people enslaved in sin brought to freedom as they understand the grace of God for the first time. But beloved, as we think about the future, pray for me and my family. Pray that we would have patient endurance with zeal. I think one of the things that I've learned through these last 4 months, and I would say even the last 8, is that we should fervently serve the Lord, but we should do so with patience and endurance. And that can only happen with having God's wisdom. So as passionate and as zealous as we are for this church, be patient. Remember the patience that it took for us to basically wait 4 months to even to see this come to pass. The patience you've shown in wearing masks. the patience you've shown in listening to my teaching, the patience you've shown in giving yourself patience, as this has all been new for you, especially for those of you who have young children, and it's been difficult at times to care for them during the core team. But continue to pray for our church to have patience. Some of you are going to be super excited and want to do 1,000 things. And I don't want to douse out that zeal. But brothers and sisters, pray for patience. Don't think about just the first 6 months of our ministry. Think about our church 6 years from now. What kind of foundation of relationships, of preaching, of prayer, of accountability, of encouragement we need to set right now. We are creating a culture right now in this church, whether you know it or not. And so pray that our church, including your pastor, would be patient. Now, with all that said, I want you to be excited. This is something to be excited about. God gets glory when his people celebrate and rejoice in what he's doing. And I want to encourage you, take time to get to know someone that you currently don't know all that well. Take time to share with them what you've learned in the core teams. Take time to share with them what you're excited about with this church. And brothers and sisters, be thinking about it, but I'd love to hear from you. Would you send me maybe an email, maybe a couple of sentences, a paragraph, maybe not pages, but just send me something to let me know what you've learned during these core team meetings.